Do you think that you guys could put together a top 5 list of top 5 oddest things that Zaslow has never done? Because it consistently comes up around here where we are talking about whatever, and Zaslow pipes in with, I've never had a soda, or I've never had an Almond Joy, or this morning, I've never worn a robe.
No. I mean, I travel a lot, especially during football season. I'm on the road every weekend, and that robe's like in the hotel room. I've never worn it.
It's tough to top last week's revelation of the Zaslow men have never created a girl in over 100 years.
Yeah. See if you can put together a top 5 list, but because Zaslow clearly has not had corrected yet the fact that he has some sort of Disney account that gives him and shouldn't give him giant suites on the road when he travels. Of course, he's getting rooms that have robes in them. Not all the rooms have robes in them, but generally the suites do have some robes in them.
Shitty rooms have robes. They're shittier robes, but they have them.
I'm pretty sure every hotel room in the closet has robes hanging.
No.
Yes. I mean, Dan, when's the last time you were in a crappy hotel?
You
only go in suites.
Crappy hotels.
Put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. You're just wrong, though. You've got to, the robe.
I'm the everyman, dude.
No, but
I'm in all these crappy rooms.
The robe.
Everybody be careful. We're not starting off like this. Someone support me.
The robe is exclusive to hotels that cost more than $250. They're not in. You can't get robes in all of the hotel rooms. The robes are a luxury. They're not in. They're not in every hotel. I can't. Now, maybe you guys are making a distinction between hotels and motels. What is a Days Inn?
I'm not staying in a motel.
What do you think a motel is?
What do I think a motel is?
Yes.
I think of it as something smaller near the airport that's much cheaper than a hotel.
No, motel, the doors face outward.
Yeah, motel is when you step out of your room and you're outside.
Sometimes they'll leave the light on for you.
How are you guys doing the definition of a motel that you feel is different than my
Schitt's
definition
Creek.
of motel?
I'm still trying to wrap my head around your definition of a hotel that doesn't have robes.
You guys have all hotels having robes?
If it's a hotel, it has a robe. Maybe I'm with you. Like the crappy motels, maybe not.
Dan, I hate to do this to you, but Chris is more right than you here.
Put it on the poll. You don't hate to do it to me. You've enjoyed doing it for the last several years.
No, because I can tell by the tone, and no one's supporting you. You feel like we're ganging up on you, and trust me, I wish I could support you here, but this one you're just flat out wrong. Every hotel has robes.
Put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. Do all hotels have robes? Yes or no? We will see what the audience decides on this.
See what AI says.
Are you somebody, do you believe you have something more shocking than Pablo saying he's never chewed gum? Do you think
How's that even believable?
Well, but some of the stuff with I put it on the poll. What's more shocking? Pablo's never chewed gum or Zaslow's never had a soda?
I think all of us through this show should try to think of the wackiest thing that we've never done. All of us, because I don't think any of us are going to beat Pablo. To Dan's point, that's a never chewed gum.
His breath is just bad sometimes, and he doesn't do anything about it.
I've never blown a bubble.
You can brush your teeth instead of chewing gum to freshen up your breath. You can do mints.
Brush his teeth in the middle of the office, like, sorry guys.
Yeah, you can brush your teeth anywhere, I suppose. I don't think it has to be in the front of. I don't think it has to be in the middle of the office.
He's trying to make deals. He's trying to find information out. He's at a deli in 43rd Street, and then he's like, "Hold on, guys, I need to brush my teeth in this deli."
Many hotels, especially smaller or budget-friendly ones, do not provide robes.
Goddamn right.
Basketball is back, Jack. Time for our favorite winter sport. The summertime is over, so let's head down to the court. Time for the tip-ball. Give me fast breaks on the attack. Will you shoot a three or take it to the rack? Basketball is back, Jack. It's a dream shake down in the post, or a killer cross you love the most. When the offense tries to run and gun, is it man to man or box and one? It's big plays and talking smack. That's how you know that basketball is back, Jack. Let me hear you say basketball, basketball, basketball. Basketball is back, Jack. 360 dunks and pick and rolls. And we're gonna watch it every day till they raise the Larry O. Hard fouls and hook shots. A dagger three and hack a shack. If you say this game's the best, I'll say it's a gag. Basketball is back, Jack. Basketball is back, Jack. Basketball is back. Basketball is back, Jack.
We've got today Jorge Sedano cutting into David Sampson's time. And as far as I can tell, the only reason we're having Jorge Sedano on is because he wore a robe in an ad. Like, we're also going to talk to him about basketball, I suppose. But the reason that we're having him on is this Mother's Day spectacular commercial.
It looks great.
Hey guys, George Sedano here from ESPN LA, and I'm at Burke Williams, the official recovery partner of ESPN Los Angeles. And here's what we're doing. We're giving away the ultimate reset for Mother's Day, a spa treatment here at Burke Williams, where you will get the 80-minute Burke Williams experience and an 80-minute facial. So make sure you're tuning in on May 5th and 6th, because that's where we're going to be giving it away. And I've already done the experience, and trust me when I tell you, you're going to love it.
You're going to love it.
Chris Cody said after seeing this morning, Chris Cody said, this isn't going to surprise any of you, but I look terrible in a robe. You do have some color palette issues that make it so that you wouldn't look so terrible if it weren't always a white terry cloth robe you're wearing.
It's just one of those things you do. You go to a hotel room, you get out of the shower, you're like, why not? Let's put it on. And then
I've never
you
done that.
walk by that floor-to-ceiling mirror, and I'm just like, ooh.
Zaslow, as someone who's never worn a robe, do you even understand the principles of the robe? Like, do you understand why the robe is popular? And especially after, for example, showers, if you're still a little damp and you want to be a little bit warmer.
No, I don't even know what the robe is for. It doesn't make sense to me. Like, why would I put it on after the shower? That's not drying myself up. I'd be dripping everywhere.
Well, no, you're not drying yourself with the robes, Zaslow.
He's soaking
I know
wet.
I'm
He
not.
puts the robe on.
That's why I don't do it. That makes sense.
So you're always staring at the robe or seeing or noticing the robe.
Yeah,
and
just like that's not for me.
You're just never tempted by, I'd like to not be wearing any clothes right now, except for just sort of draping this blanket, this terry cloth blanket over my shoulder.
I mean, I can only imagine. I come out of the bathroom, maybe I'm with, like next month. Next month, I'm taking my wife. We're going on a weekend to New York City. That's right, Manhattan. I can't even imagine that. I'll come out of the bathroom and I'll just be wearing a robe. I mean,
You have to now.
You should try it now just to shock her.
Without telling her.
Yes, for sure.
Well, you don't have to do that.
Now he needs to do it. And if you don't mind, this is going to ask you to make some content while you're doing this. I just need the audio of whatever her reaction is. I need you to secretly, when you emerge from the shower wearing only a robe, I'd like to hear what her
You
reaction
have him wearing a
is.
wire with his wife? What are you, fed?
What is she going to hit a baby?
and I'm just dripping everywhere?
Yeah, again,
you
Zaslow, you
dry
dry off, Zaslow. The robe is not a towel. It just, if you're damp getting out of the shower, a little bit damp after drying off less well, you could throw on the robe and it will absorb some of the.
And what
work
happens?
for you.
Is there like a belt kind of deal where I tie it around me? Yeah.
Yes.
All right.
All right. So let's
belt.
Let's make sure to do that.
It's not like something I'm against. All right, I'll do it.
Yeah, I think you might come around on the robe. I think you're not enjoying some of life's.
That's one of the
easier,
finer things?
No, it's just a simpler luxury. It's a nice little luxury, I would say.
Okay.
Chris Cody, which robe do you believe that you would look worse in? A white one or a red one? Like a silk, a red. Roy, why are you being disgusted by the sight of Chris in a red silk robe?
No, it's not just Chris. It's just a red robe. It's
Thank
just
you, Roy.
unseemly
Thank
to
you.
me.
For me, I'd go red. White I don't do white. Never.
Red is meant to shock you. It's how they made Will Ferrell's character a little bit more gross in old school.
With the nunchucks.
Did the character in Boogie Nights that was wandering around his home with the servant who
Alfred Molina,
who was throwing Snap and Pops on the floor, was that a red robe? Was it?
what a scene!
It was a great scene.
They're so high on coke.
yeah, they are. So the Dolphins yesterday, and I want to talk about this because I've told you guys, never in the history of a fairly historic franchise have they fumigated the building the way that they have now. But I believe they're about to field the most faceless Dolphin team there's ever been. Faceless for a couple of different reasons. I can make the argument that Achane is the only player that anyone who pays to watch this team would have an emotional connection to, but he's extra faceless himself because nobody knows him. His interviews are terrible. He doesn't talk much and doesn't have much to say when he talks. So you legitimately have your best known player, if it's not Malik Willis, I think it's got to be Achane. Your best known player, nobody in your fan base actually knows him. It's not a personality type that anyone has a connection to. They've made him the third highest paid running back. So their best player is at the most disposable position. He's just reset the market because Jahmyr Gibbs and Bijan Robinson are about to get paid because of what Achane just did to reset the market a little bit. Doesn't have a lot of guaranteed money in it, and I don't care very much about the numbers, but I did want to talk to you guys a little bit about the idea. You thought that the Dolphin franchise, all of you, were lying when they said that he's not going to be traded. They tried to soothe everyone as soon as they got rid of Waddle by leaking to the insiders, hey, Achane's not going anywhere. Don't worry, we're going to keep Achane. What did you make of this signing, Zaz?
I like it. I do. I like it. You know, you have to have some players on the team. You have to pay some guys. There is a salary cap. There's a salary floor. It's not like it prevents them from doing anything. And look, I know they're going to be bad, and and you could take the school of thought where what's the point in keeping him when if your team's not going to be good for maybe another few years, well, we know the lifespan on these running backs, he's not going to be good by then either. Maybe they believe he's one of those running backs like a Saquon Barkley who is going to be good for 8, 9, 10 years. So if you believe that he's one of those dynamic guys, then yeah, you want to keep him in. All right, in a few years, you'll be good, and you got a good player on the team.
Not only that, it's a pretty team-friendly deal. When you look at it, you're like, it's not a ton of guaranteed money, only under $40 million guaranteed. You can move on later on in the contract, but you look at what Jeremiah Love just got for being a top 4 pick. Got $53 million guaranteed without playing a single snap in the NFL.
Can I push back on fans wanting their player to be interesting, though, in interviews? Like, what has Derrick Henry ever said in an interview?
Oh, no,
if you're
no,
good
no.
in fantasy, we love you.
No.
He was huge that one time against Billy, which was funny.
Hold on a second. I'm not saying what you said I said. What I'm saying is fans don't actually feel like they know him. I'm guessing that Derrick Henry, fans feel like they know. Fans of the teams who watch him interviewed.
Isn't that because he's recognizable?
Well, but that too. But I'm saying that whatever the personality type is that you assigned to, you felt like you knew Tua. Whether you liked him or you didn't like him, you felt like you knew the player. I don't know whether you felt like you knew Waddle. You felt like you knew Tyreek Hill. I felt like I knew, and he played at the University of Miami, knew Jalen Phillips, Sealer. I know what some of these
Sealer's
guys
still there.
Yeah, what some of these guys are, I feel like I know them. Achane, they don't let him be interviewed very much. He doesn't interview well, and so you legitimately have now money tied up, and basically the only known name you have it in a player. I'm talking about the emotional connections that people make. When I talk about sports, okay, and I tell you guys it's the emotion business, the thing that you have to guard against in your customer base is indifference. You just want them to feel something, even if they're mad, even if they hate guys, you want them to have a feeling. The worst feeling is indifference, and you need to have some sort of human connection that goes beyond the uniform so that you feel like you've got an emotional investment in rooting for somebody that's not just a regional bias.
I look at Devon Achane, and I'm like, I think you might be the best running back in football. I'm connected to you. I feel emotionally attached to you.
Yeah, I'm going to harken back to my experience as a recovering Browns fan. Nick Chubb is as stoic as it gets, and I would take a bullet for Nick Chubb to this day. He's one of my favorite football players of all time. Don't recall a single word that he said, famous for being quiet.
I think I may have actually left out the part that I think is most important and why I like this contract for Devon Achane. They don't have any receivers right now. They have to have someone who could give you some kind of glimpse if Malik Willis is worth anything. And so having a dynamic playmaker right there. I know he's not a wide receiver, catches a lot of passes. You have to have somebody who allows you to look at the quarterback and determine if he's any good.
They're going to be a running team. They're going to build it around making sure that Malik Willis is protected with a lot of ability to run around him. I think you guys are missing my point, though. You mentioned Nick Chubb. That's fine. You had Myles Garrett. You've got other guys. It's not just one stoic guy that you admire and you like his running style, but it's the only guy that you have any connection to, and there's not much of a connection. It is really rare for an NFL team to put in front of its fan base a team that has no singular emotional connection, anyone on the field, to any of the customers. It's just not normal.
So you're asking, is there a player on the Dolphins going into this season that is recognizable?
There's not.
That's what you're asking.
No, a connection, an emotional connection. You want to wear their jersey. Kids are going to grow up with the poster on the wall if kids are still doing that.
Yeah, but I just think overall Dolphin fans are in on a rebuild, and that's what they're doing here. They got rid of all the guys you're talking about that they had connections to. I'm with you. You're not wrong. There's nobody here that you have a real connection to, but I think as a Dolphins fan, I'm kind of just good with a reset.
I think you probably wish at this point, in what will be going into his third year, that Chop Robinson could have been that guy. Because, look, he plays a cool position. He's supposed to get a lot of sacks. He's got a cool name, Chop Robinson, but he hasn't really done anything. Like that would be a guy that could have been someone you recognize.
It's another part of the frustration, I think, from Dolphins fans locally when they pass up on Ruben Bain, because Ruben Bain immediately becomes the biggest star on the team.
Oh, yeah.
That's the reason, or one of the reasons, I was making the argument on behalf of Bain. But I do think that you guys, and I get how it happens, it's a normal thing to happen when you're in the industry. I think the child in you guys is, the child sports fan is a little bit gone. Favorite players matter. Like that's a thing that allows you to sell your franchise.
There's also a weird disconnect here because you have zero fantasy football brain. Achane is nationally famous.
He's a monster.
He's going to be a top 3 pick. Guys in group chats are going to be texting about Achane the entire summer.
I don't know why you assume that I don't know that Achane is somebody who's become famous because to a bunch of people in America, he's an assortment of numbers that pay on Sunday.
You know he's a top 3 pick?
You know about that fantasy football?
You know he's a top 3 pick?
When would you take him?
I am fully aware that fantasy has distorted fandom in a way that makes these connections matter less than they have because the human beings are numbers and only numbers to a whole bunch of fans. Usually, though, when I'm talking about one of the most reputable brands of any kind inside or outside of sports in a market, it has a star. And while I'm not complaining about it, I'm simply pointing out to you how rare it is for the money to be invested in a guy who nobody knows and nobody has any connection to. Nobody knows meaningfully. I don't mean that nobody knows his name. Plenty of people know Achane's name. Plenty more know nothing about who he actually is.
But there's been plenty of stars that wear a Dolphins uniform, and it all kind of ends the same. So it's like you look at Tyreek Hill, you look at Tua, you look at Waddle, you look at the litany of guys that have come before that, and the only thing that everybody cares about is how can you get a rebuild now to be better for the future, right? It doesn't matter you had Tyreek Hill. He was the best wide receiver for 5 years, and now he broke his leg and he's gone, and it doesn't really matter.
Going into this season, players who are on the team, what's the jersey we'll see the most at a Dolphins game?
It's got to be Achane. I mean, it's going to be Achane or Willis. It's going to be
Willis will be up there too, yeah.
It's going to be the quarterback or the running back. I saw a story earlier this week. Did you guys see any details reported on this? It was a super weird story where Le'Veon Moss ends up signing a 3-year contract as a running back out of Texas Tech with the Dolphins and retires the next day without ever playing it down. I don't know how much that contract was worth. It was about $250,000 a year. It was a 3-year contract.
He got $250 million guaranteed and then retired. Yeah, I'm sorry. That would be crazy.
Great team friendly.
$250,000, $250,000 guaranteed, retired the very next day. And it's something that we're seeing across the league, and I don't know how it's allowed. We're seeing more of it, and I don't know. This seems to be like a post-NIL world where you have guys that enter the league that have made some money. Le'Veon Moss made a lot of money over at Texas A&M, and he came in. He did battle through some injuries last year. He came in, decided, not for me. Let me take this $250,000 and peace out.
So you guys are saying that guarantee is guaranteed, but Brandon Ayuk's isn't. The franchise could take Brandon Ayuk's money when he doesn't adhere to certain things that are tied to the guarantee. But you're saying you've read enough about this to know that this player went into the signing knowing he was going to retire and just signed his name so he could run out the back door of the facility with $250,000.
He doesn't have to give it back?
That's just what he's saying.
No way.
I don't know. I have not read enough about it.
He's not getting that money.
I don't know. He signed it. He signed a a partially guaranteed contract in which he got $258,000 guaranteed. I'm struggling here. Just move on.
It is.
No one has the answer for it.
I don't have the answer. I was just asking the question, and it's very fun. I think I can announce to all, it's very fun to have the question, not have the answer, try and get the answer from others, listen to them be wrong, and then feel self-satisfied because they got it wrong, even though you asked the question without knowing what the answer is.
Brother, that's been this show.
But it's a weird story. The brother was unnecessary. I don't know why you're Hulk Hogan all of a sudden.
Because that's my emotional reaction.
It's just not needed.
Feels like it's the show.
So Moss, it's a weird story that a guy would I like the way that you framed it. Actually, he goes in the facility knowing he's going to sucker the Dolphins. He's the only one who knows he's going to retire the next day, and he gets his guaranteed money because the signature guarantees the money. I don't know if that's true. I wish for it to be true.
Walks in Halfley, Sullivan. What's up, babe? I'm gonna hit the head.
For the sake of accuracy, it was 4 days after that he retired, but it's possible he waited the 4 days because he wanted the money to clear into his bank account.
It's been going around, and I haven't seen a single tweet that's like, the team's getting some of this money back.
There's no way he's keeping the money.
It seems weird, but this is a thing that is happening more in the league. Brother.
Zaz, you say there's no way.
No way.
But a guarantee, look, I don't know how you define guarantee. I don't know how you define it. But the way I define guarantee is the moment that you sign that, you get that money, and there's no one who can take it away from you.
Take all the angles, then you can laugh at anyone that tries to answer.
He never started the job. The job never started.
He was in the building.
He's guaranteed the money when the job begins. He never started the job.
I think it's a signing bonus, though. I think it's a guaranteed signing bonus. And I was confused when the 49ers, I thought that would have to go to court. I thought there would be all sorts of union litigation involved there, where the union, even though it's got a bad client that it's representing, would still fight for the rights of a guarantee. To my way of thinking in sports is strict definition literal. It's guaranteed. There is no taking that away from you. And furthermore, you just heard Tony say it, because Jeremiah Love signed a monster contract with no proof that he's going to be great. You don't have the proof. We can all assume it, but you don't have proof. He has not played it down. And he's getting off the top a contract that guarantees him more than the Super Bowl MVP is getting guaranteed for going to Kansas City when he would be a coveted free agent. Kenneth Walker's not making as much as Jeremiah Love, and that's how I've always done the definitions on guaranteed.
I'll read this to you here. In the NFL, guaranteed money including signing bonuses, is generally conditional on a player participating. He never participated.
Well, he participated in signing the contract.
Enough to be in the building and be like, check's cleared? All right, perfect. Jeremiah Love is not only making more guaranteed money than MVP of the Super Bowl, he's making more money guaranteed than Kenneth Walker's entire salary.
Yeah, Kenneth Walker signs for $45 million, some of it not guaranteed, and you can't guarantee the entirety of some of these contracts, though they're guaranteeing more than they ever have because of how violent and dangerous the sport is and how often it injures the employees. That's the reason that the guarantees aren't bigger. Can we get to the sound here, though? I want to get Dwayne Wade is again on a podcast, and he is telling Heat fans, "Oh wow, Tony is waving his hand at Dwayne Wade."
Was that the Greg Cody
It
display?
wasn't the back of the hand; it was the front of the hand. He waved him off with the front of the hand, the way that you would swat a fly away from your face or a bee. He's just.
Well, what's
waving
this
him
guy
off.
got to say? He owns a piece of the Jazz, and he's gonna come over here and talk about Heat fans, saying Heat fans be paid. I'm not gonna spoil what he
let
says.
him say it
I'm
first.
not gonna spoil what he says. I'm just upset with
All
him.
right, let him say it first, and then be upset with.
Okay, brother.
Man, listen, Pat, Andy, Mickey, and Nick, they don't listen. If they see an opportunity, they're gonna strike, bro. That's what they do. But they're not just gonna strike because you, as a fan, is impatient and you want them to strike. They've been in the finals 7 times since I was drafted. They're fine, bro.
You're right.
But we want them to strike. We want Bam. We want these guys to get the help that we feel like they need to be able to compete in the East because you see it open, you see opportunity, right? You see opportunity, but they're not striking for no reason just because you want them to. Not even we, you.
I'm impatient. You right.
Zaz, what are your thoughts there as Tony waves off the most popular player in Heat history?
I mean, Dwayne Wade can certainly say whatever he wants. If he feels that way, totally fine. I'm not going to sit here and tell you, Dwayne Wade, you can't say that. No, he can say that. I don't have to agree, and I don't agree. I think it's okay to have a standard as a franchise and realize now that this is actually, since Pat Riley joined the Miami Heat, we are right now the most years without winning a championship ever. Like, Pat Riley won a championship 11 years after he got to the franchise. They have not won a championship now in 13 years. So this is officially the biggest drought in the history of the franchise since Riley's been here. It's okay to have a standard where this is not acceptable. But Dwayne Wade can feel that way. That's fine. I essentially agree with Dwayne Wade. Like, I don't want Andy Ellisberg to leave. I don't want Pat Riley to leave. I like this front office. I do believe in them. But it's okay to be critical.
I agree, but I know the key's under the mat and the whole thing, but like, you turned your back on us.
Whoa.
You're a Jazz man now. You own a piece of the Jazz. You're not a Miami Heat guy. You can't tell us, hey, they're going to do this and that. I'm just saying, he's chosen his line in the sand, and he's over on the other side, right on our side.
You're right. He's not a Miami Heat guy. He's the Miami Heat guy. You fool.
Whoa. He'd be a partial owner of the Miami Heat if the Miami Heat had offered him partial ownership. He had to go take it.
Also true. That's not a small note.
But that's not his fault. That's the across the street's fault.
Yeah, it is. But
you're right. It's not his fault. You just said it.
Okay, but then he went over and did something else. He could have bought another team. He could have been in football. He could have been in baseball. He could have been somewhere else. But he chose basketball to be with the Jazz of all people. Come on.
You are really
Can't talk about the Heat.
Being disrespectful. You can't talk about the Heat.
Can't talk about the Heat fan.
If we would have handpicked a team for him to be a part owner of that, we would have been like, oh, that doesn't matter. It would be the Jazz.
I think you're right.
If it was the Knicks, I'd be like, okay, this stinks. I forgot he was with the Jazz.
I don't even know that he knows he's with the Jazz. When's the last time you heard him say anything about the Utah Jazz?
Can you look up for me, please, whether this is the longest drought of Pat Riley's entire career? He did not win in New York, although he is celebrated for coming as close as he did in New York, where it was viewed as a success. But the last few years here are viewed as a failure.
Oh, well,
even
though, not the longest.
He was in New York, and he got very close to the championship.
He won in '88 in LA.
He played in a Game 7 against Elijah Wan, and John Starks went 2 for 18 from the field, and he's still haunted by that fact that he never pulled John Starks. He kept trusting him, but the longest stretch
18
of
years.
Pat Riley's career has been 18 years
Yeah.
without a title. I want to get to the sound here because I saw that 20 plus years in, LeBron James is still having the big story written about him that lists his incredibly minor grievances as if they matter. So the big note that was taken from the Dave McMenamin long story on LeBron, McMenamin had another story on LeBron where he interviewed him 8 times in 8 cities and sort of did a tour of the entire year of basketball with LeBron. But in this story, LeBron James is evidently, reportedly upset because after a victory in which Luka didn't play, and I think Austin Reeves didn't play either in the victory that we're talking about after knocking off Houston, Jeannie Buss came in and gave the game ball to J.J. Redick. Pelinka, gave the game ball to J.J. Redick, and I think it was because it was J.J. Redick's 100th win, and it is being reported that LeBron James didn't like that as part of a larger story, which I thought was interesting, about how the Lakers and LeBron need each other more than either side realizes.
So coincidentally, that night was not only J.J. Redick's 100th career victory, but it was also the night that LeBron James surpassed Kareem Abdul-Jabbar as the all-time winningest individual player. And here's actually the video, Dan. The Lakers obviously recorded this moment in the locker room after the game of J.J. Redick getting the game ball that night.
We got one more accolade tonight, but we got to roll the video first.
Hi, Dad. Congrats on your 100th win. I'm very proud of you. I love you. Go Lakers. Woohoo!
Happy 100th win, Dad. You're a great dad and a great coach, and I love you so much.
Go Lakers!
To come in the league and get back-to-back 50-win seasons, first 2 years as a coach puts you in elite category.
Our coach.
Like, Dan, I got no problem being critical of LeBron. So apparently LeBron was upset about that J.J. Redick got the credit, got the game ball. I got a hard time believing that LeBron's upset about that. I really do.
Well,
I gotta be fair.
I believed it, though. I believe the reporting. Well, I don't think Dave McMenamin is going to risk any sort of damage to his relationship with LeBron by reporting things that aren't true about LeBron. And this makes LeBron look bad. So if you're going to report something, it better be accurate. Also, there aren't a lot of places that could come from other than LeBron, by the way. There aren't a lot of sources on that would give you the accurate information because it's such a small, silly thing to be upset about. There was a vigorous back pat in the middle of that was very loud. I'm always distracted the first time I see Pelinka because of how much he looks like Rob Lowe. And also, if I were LeBron James, I'd also be bothered by the fact we're celebrating the guy on the sideline a little too much, given what he does around here.
I wanted a video of Bronny at a pool being like, "Good job, Dad. Good career. You're a good basketball player. I love you."
Does it change things that I think I can tell that LeBron's voice is one of the voices going, "Hey"?
Yeah, good job.
It's indifferent, though. It's an indifferent, it's a manufactured A.
Right.
I'm enthusiastic about this.
Dan's right on this. I think it's a sarcastic A.
It is. We're going to listen to the whole thing again, including listen closely for the vigorous backslap, because there is a backslap in there that's too loud and is the kind of thing that you say to somebody when you're like, "Babe, I'm hitting the head."
We got one more accolade tonight, but we got to roll the video first.
Hi, Dad. Congrats on your 100th win. I'm very proud of you. I love you. Go Lakers. Woohoo!
Happy 100th win, Dad. You're a great dad and a great coach, and I love you so much.
Go Lakers!
To come in the league and get back-to-back 50-win seasons, first 2 years as a coach puts you in elite category.
Our coach. I think Redick was uncomfortable with the way that went and his entire body language because he used to be a player and he knows how little they respect the coaches sometimes and how bothered the players get when the coach is getting all sorts of credit for motivating them as if they're all infants because they can't do it themselves. There is an underlying tension in most locker rooms that has a little bit of that in it. This guy pushing me around doesn't play anymore and is getting a disproportionate amount of the credit just because he's the middle manager.
It's 100 wins. It's not like 1,000. 100.
It's 3 good whacks, but that's Reddick doing it to Rob Lowe, not Rob Lowe doing it to Reddick.
Correct.
And it's because of his discomfort. No, it's.
I think I hear 4.
No.
Yeah.
4.
Great catch.
Excellent correction. This is why you're a rising leader in the industry right there. Your attention to detail in this artificial intelligence time where you can't tell where anything's true. Chris Cody is there. That sounded
4 feels like
4 feels vindictive. I'm going to try 3.
That's nice.
That's sincere.
Oh, too much.
Yeah.
Yucky.
The 4th one was not good.
I sensed Reddick's discomfort there. He did it a little extra hard. It wasn't because he was vigorously happy. It's because he wanted to parachute out of the situation. You think I have that wrong, Zaslow? Because it seemed like he was uncomfortable. He was visually red. He turned as red as Chris Cody in a red bathrobe.
No, I think you're right about Reddick not being interested in this that's happening right now. But again, I'm a little bit surprised that I'm the only one who has a heart. Like everything LeBron has experienced in his career, he's been on the Lakers for 8 years now. It's the longest single stretch that he's played for any team in his entire career. And we're still doing the thing where, like, you don't appreciate me? I don't know. I thought LeBron was above that.
I always marveled at how some of the giants of the industry can be sensitive in unusual places. What are you laughing about,
Did I say something stupid?
You thought LeBron was above that? We've known him for 20+ years. That's his thing. It's his thing.
Game ball?
It's his thing. Being petty it's his thing.
I think I just caught something else here. There's what sounds like a sarcastic, our coach. Is this LeBron here? Listen to this.
Our coach.
No.
Okay. If it was, though.
Yeah.
That's Huchimara.
Our coach.
But if it was, it sounded sarcastic.
It did sound sarcastic. A couple weeks ago, we were talking about the legendary Eric Gregg game. For those of you who do not know,
What a night.
Eric Gregg gift-wrapped a World Series appearance for the Marlins against a really good pitching staff of the Atlanta Braves by giving a strike zone that included both batters' boxes and allowed Livan Hernandez to have 15 strikeouts in a game. Here's Charles Johnson.
Talking with Taché.
Talking with Taché. You know what? I don't want to play it anymore.
You're also not allowed to say what a night when it was famously a day game.
Did I say what a night?
That was
Zaslow.
Let's check in with Charles Johnson.
It's like, what a night, even though the sun was shining bright.
It was a very bright game, and Eric Gregg was hot
start.
and wanted to get out of there. It's part of the reason. He wanted to get into whatever it is was happening after the game. Here's Charles Johnson talking about the strike zone in that game.
The craziest game I think I've ever been a part of. I can remember because LeVon didn't speak hardly no English.
Okay.
I don't speak Spanish.
Right.
And so I'm sitting there, and the first inning starts, and I'm like, okay, the outside corner looks very liberal. Like him, he's really giving a lot outside. And I came in the dugout and I say, LeVon, away. We staying away, everything. No inside. We're going away. And I was like, Comprende? He was like, yeah. So we went out there every inning, and I kept getting further and further outside. He kept calling more pitches outside. And I just couldn't believe it. It was times where I was getting ready to throw it back to LeVon. He
thinking it's a ball.
You think it's a ball. And what shocked me, too, is that I saw this video where is that, somebody put the little strike zone box in there. And it really showed how far the ball is really outside. Because back then, right, they didn't have that little box. You couldn't really see the box. But now you can see it. And I'm like, whoa.
Yeah, it was crazy.
I have a couple questions. Number one, I obviously remember the game very well. I was 16 years old. But what I don't remember is, would Costas acknowledge how ridiculous the strike zone was throughout the game?
I can't answer the question for you because I wasn't watching it on television.
You were there.
My mouth was hanging open as I was watching what it is that was happening. And what I remember about Charles Johnson specifically, he's the guy in the casino who knows the slot machine's broken and is looking around. He's looking around like,
somebody come get me?
Is anyone going to notice that this thing is giving me more money than it's supposed to be
Such
giving
a great
me?
admission of him. Like, I was throwing it back and like strike 3. Okay.
The second question that I have is, Jeremy was a year old when CJ was catching that game. That's weird that Jeremy's the one talking about that game when he was You're old.
You know what's weird? The socks.
Yeah, what's going on
Long
there?
white socks with the black pants. I figured.
Now,
Those pants are flooded.
everyone says Jeremy's stylish, so this might be stylish, and we're just out on this.
This show, I wouldn't say should be critiquing anyone's style. As a show, as one show voice, we probably shouldn't be critiquing anyone's style.
But he looks goofy.
Well, that's the opposite of what I just said. But Jeremy's got sort of resting goofy face.
Wow.
That was way meaner than anything we had said prior to.
I'm just repeating. I'm repeating. What is it meaner?
I just said white socks.
I'm repeating his insult. It doesn't. I don't get to be meaner because I'm a parrot. Because I'm just repeating what it is
Your
that
tone
he
was
said.
bad.
It's not my
Woody
word.
Woodpecker.
That was really messed up.
It's Chris Cody's word. Did Messi have a hat trick last night? Yes or no?
It was taken away. It was yeah. I mean, he was responsible for 3 goals. I don't know if Inter Miami is a blast to watch because there is zero defense being played. You know what both teams to score was on the line? Minus 350.
Wow.
It's rare where you see a line like that. But
There 8 goals.
They're still giving money away when it comes to the overs, when it comes to Inter Miami games. It's insane.
What do you mean they took away his hat trick, but he was responsible for 3 goals? It's one or the other.
Well, one of his goals went off of the face of a keeper. There was a collision between. It was bad. It was a bad MLS moment. That'll be made. The league will be made fun of for one of the goals there. One of them was credited as an own goal. It took a deflection, but he made it happen. He was unbelievable again. He's still a top 10 player in the world.
And they were trailing.
Yes, they were trailing. They trailed a couple of times in that game. And Cincinnati is a very difficult place to play. Not as difficult as apparently as playing at home for Inter Miami because 22 of their 25 points this season have come on the road. They cannot win at home, but on the road, they put in performances like that where they just have this extra gear, and the extra gear is Messi. Right. He is a one-man gang right now. It is painful to watch Suarez try to run down the pitch. You can tell his knees do not work.
You say he's a one-man gang right now, but he's been that for the entirety of his career, and I am not yet immune to being amazed at 38-year-old people still being best in the world at sports.
Hey, the Hockey Show has live streams throughout the rest of the Stanley Cup playoffs. Please join us as we get to enjoy all the teams that are left here in the Stanley Cup playoffs. Dave, are you ready?
I am thrilled. I'm exhilarated. I'm excited. I'm psyched. I'm ready.
What about you, Rosie?
I can't wait to pick my team. Woohoo!
It's the second round. You're
No.
picking a team.
I'm picking a team now.
Ethan,
Bye-bye.
Ethan, what about you?
Always fired up to watch some playoff puck, Roy.
All right, the Hockey Show. We're doing live streams of the Stanley Cup playoffs throughout the end of the playoffs. Please join us.
This episode of the Dan Le Batard Show is presented by DraftKings. DraftKings! The crown is yours.
Chris Cody, I salute you for being authentic. You are a real one, sir. You are not wearing a shirt under that robe, as opposed to all these other half-assers out here. These arrepentidos, robe arrepentidos, todos. You can't wear a T-shirt under the robe. That's asinine. You got to wear the robe or don't wear the robe. You can't wear a T-shirt under the robe.
You know what's asinine? A line 6 deep to take off the shirt to put on the robe for a show.
Sedano is with us now. He's a robe pioneer. I don't know how embarrassed he was grabbing the money involved with wearing a robe and doing a Mother's Day special. Welcome, Sedano. Not embarrassed at all. A proud robe wearer in public, even though you looked patently ridiculous.
Yes, and I loved every second of it. I knew it would be something that everybody would latch onto. And you know what? The company I got paid by got a lot of people that wanted to go to their spa.
Okay, well, you're throwing that in my face. You still looked ridiculous. And Zaslow has never worn a robe. So
big reveal.
Yes, there's going to be a big reveal here. Yeah, he has never worn a robe.
Think he's going shirtless?
He's doing, I doubt it. You guys are half-assers. You guys are notorious half-assers when it comes to both Pulitzer winning and the wearing of robes.
Here it is.
Yeah, here he is coming in.
Oh, look at that.
He's coming in to find out what your thoughts are on what.
Pull up a chair, Zaz.
On where it
is.
is.
Looks like Ric Flair now all of a sudden walking out there.
Somehow looks more like a cuck.
Greg the Hammer Valentine.
He looks like Rick No Flair.
Wait a second. Answer this. Zaslow is a man who carries around a soap dish when he travels, but yet has never worn a robe. I don't understand that.
You can explain yourself if you'd like.
What did he say?
Soap dish?
Soap dish on the road.
Yeah, I had my soap dish with me this weekend in Orlando.
But why would you carry a soap dish around and then?
Because I want to clean myself in the shower.
But okay, but you can do that without a soap dish. So
I should just have a bar of soap just clanking around in the bag, getting everything dirty? Why would I do that?
We're not trust the hotel soap they provide.
No.
We're not criticizing not exactly criticizing your traveling soap dish. We are pairing that against the general inconsistency of being someone who travels with a soap dish, but draws the line at, I will not wear a robe.
No.
Yeah.
This isn't a line. It's not like I refuse. I'm wearing a robe right now. It's very nice. I had just never worn a robe before.
I'm glad that we could, at all times here, pioneer. I see that David Sampson just went. I saw that he just went to get his own robe.
Oh,
Thank you. Thank you, David Sampson, for participating in the game. We will let you go in a second, George, but I did want to get your thoughts on where you think LeBron is going to end up next year and what you thought of the McMenamin article about LeBron being bothered by J.J. Redick getting a game ball from Pelinka.
So look, let's start with the latter, right? I can understand his level of frustration because while that was the thing that drew everyone's attention, I think it was just the culmination of what he felt were numerous slights going into that, where he felt like once they got Luka, it was like, all right, LeBron, see you later, thanks. And there was probably a number of instances where he felt that way, and it just culminated in that one. It would be the example of, you guys have different shows, right, on your network, right? It would be the example of this show celebrating, I don't know, let's just say, use a number, for example, it's 50,000th show, right? But yet you didn't get like some sort of recognition for it. You would recognize, a Means basketball show for its 200th show. You know what I mean? As opposed to your 50,000th show. He literally became the guy who played the most games in NBA history at that point. So to not even acknowledge him, I think, let alone forget about the game ball, to not have any acknowledgement, I think pissed him off clearly. And it was just kind of the cherry on top of the whole situation to that point. I still think he ends up with the Lakers, Dan, because I just think him going elsewhere becomes complicated. Now, the Lakers will have to come correct in the sense of, I think they still have to pay him close to what his current salary is. If they're going to ask him to take a pay cut, which to my understanding he is amenable to, it has to be for a real reason. For, hey, you got to show me a plan as to who you're bringing in that's going to help us get over the top and try to beat these two behemoths in front of us in Oklahoma City and San Antonio potentially. So I think it's that, but I think ultimately the Lakers are in their best position if all three guys are back. I know it's a small sample size, but they were 16-2 in March when those three guys figured it out. And LeBron, who made sure to let us know, he became the third option, and he had never become a third option, but he did it willingly as a willing participant. I think that part of it, he made sure to acknowledge, while also acknowledging that he brought them out of the doldrums and restored, was the word he used, this great franchise to the places they needed to be, which was win championships. So he said, he could do whatever they need him to do. I do think that's their best path. They would still have money left over as long as LeBron takes a reasonable pay cut and Austin Reeves doesn't get the max to add players to the mix that they have already. But I just don't see a real path for them to beat those teams without a little luck, to be honest with you, even if they do have all three back, or even if they remade the whole roster. There's just not teams, in my opinion, that are ready to beat OKC and potentially even San Antonio without some good fortune going their way.
George, I want to credit you because you said championships plural. So thank you for attributing the proper respect to the in-season tournament.
Oh, if I said championships, then that was my fault. But the in-season tournament was not what I was referring to. I was referring to the bubble championship where they beat the Heat. So sorry.
Singular.
Can I talk about the Heat? Am I only here to talk about the Lakers? What the hell?
You're an LA guy.
I will get to that in a second. You are an LA guy, but they're accusing LeBron of being petty here, and I just think he's being human. And also, even though he is plenty overcovered, I do think he's underappreciated. I think it's fair to say that even though he's appreciated plenty, I understand how he arrives at, they're not quite treating me with the respect I deserve here.
So Dan, let's put it this way. And, those last couple of years of Kobe were not good. Okay. He was a different player. He was older. His Achilles had torn, et cetera, et cetera. I believe Kobe's last year might have been the worst season in LA Lakers history in regards to their record. But after Kobe, prior to LeBron's arrival in 2018, the summer of 2018, they went through a stretch of where they went 43-121. Okay. He went there to a team that I was stunned he went there at the time. I don't remember how you guys felt, but they had nobody. They had a bunch of rookies. They had Lonzo Ball. They had Brandon Ingram. They had, Julius Randle, I believe, was still there. They had a bunch of kids at that stage. And you may recall Christmas Day, he tore his groin, and they were the 4 seed, even with all those kids in the Western Conference, because he was still peak LeBron at that time. He delivered a championship for a franchise who, in their 6-year stretch prior to his arrival, was the worst franchise in the NBA by record. Okay. So he deserves some level of respect there that he's never really gotten. And I think a lot of that, and we can go into a deep dive about this, is he's not Kobe. Okay. He was not the homegrown talent. He was the mercenary. But here's the thing. Is he really the mercenary still? He's been there longer than any other spot he's been in one stint. So I think it's just this weird, complicated thing with LeBron, whether it's Kobe. And I'm not talking about just the fans. I'm talking about maybe even internally within the franchise structure as well.
There aren't a lot of precedents for Kobe, for anyone getting the kind of love that Kobe got from that franchise, even though he made a giant stink at one point about wanting very loudly to be traded, and it just gets totally erased. You wanted to talk about the Heat. The reports are, you'll be very excited about this, that the Heat are first in line for Giannis. They are first in line, and I want to play for Sedano what it is, the perspective that Dwayne Wade, a patient Dwayne Wade, brought. And if it's fair for Tony to say, shut up, Dwayne Wade, you're a Jazz.
Whoa, I did not say shut up.
You did. You said, I don't want to hear from him. You said,
I said I didn't want to hear from him.
You said you don't want him to talk. It's the same as shut up without saying shut up. And Dwayne Wade is preaching patience here, and Tony has dismissed him as a Jazz man.
Man, listen, Pat, Andy, Mickey,
they gonna do it.
And Nick, they don't listen. If they see an opportunity,
I know they will.
They're gonna strike, bro. That's what they do. But they're not just gonna strike because you, as a fan, is impatient and you want them to strike. They've been in the finals 7 times since I was drafted. They're fine, bro.
You're right.
But we want them to strike. We want Bam. We want these guys to get the help that we feel like they need to be able to compete in the East, because you see it open, you see opportunity, right? You see opportunity, but they're not striking for no reason, just because you want them to. Not even we, you.
I'm impatient. You right.
That guy is a great plant-based hype man.
You're
What
right.
do you have there for us, Sedano?
You're right. You're right, Dan. But he's right. But I would also say that yes, fans should be patient. Heat fans are spoiled. A generation of Heat fans grew up not understanding what it was like to watch Ronnie Cycli and Steve Smith and Glenn Rice make the playoffs and get blasted and us be excited about that, right? It's a different generation of fans. Mike Ryan is the poster child for them, where he's always upset about everything that happens to them. They literally were in the finals 3 years ago, and they're very upset. They're always upset. And I love you, Mike, but it is true. Like, you were a bit spoiled, and that's fine. That's the bar they've set. I do believe that if they have the assets, they will find a player that they feel they can land that's better than Bam. Now, is it going to be Giannis? I don't know. Dan, I happen to think that if Boston gets in the mix and they serve up Jaylen Brown, Giannis will probably be in Boston. That's my guess. But if Boston doesn't serve up Jaylen Brown, then I think that the Heat have as good a chance as anybody.
You're right.
Thank you. Thank you, Sedano. You two, though, are a bit of a robe fraud here. I see the T-shirt under there. I'm gonna get rid of you now and go to somebody who's more authentically robed. David Sampson has committed to the cause and is wearing nothing underneath the robe. He came
Shaved
on
chest,
like a dolphin.
Yeah. Put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. Does Dave Sampson have a shaved chest like a dolphin? Yes or no at Le Batard Show. Sampson, a conversation we've been having around here this week, and I'm curious if you have a theory on this, even though I haven't warned you that this question is coming, so it requires a little bit of thought. Do you have any theory as to why it is more sports content doesn't try to take the lane of being funny? That there are very few sports broadcasters that anyone would mention that have the historical reputation of that person is funny. That's a funny person. It seems like sports would be a perfect lane for somebody to decide, you know what, the thing I'm going to try to do is be funnier than others because I'm not competing against anybody. There's no one here in this particular lane. Do you have a theory on that for me?
Yeah, shut up and dribble. It's hard to be funny. That's why I have such great respect for comedic actors from Jim Carrey on down, because it's easier to be dramatic than it is to be funny. And the risk you take in sports if you try to be funny is you get embarrassed. You're not appealing to the analytic crowd. You're not appealing to the people who want you to give them information that they're going to use to their economic benefit. There's all sorts of reasons people come to those with a voice in sports, and very, very way down the list is funny. And so people generally don't want to try it. I happen to agree that being funny is different than clever. I like clever better than funny because if you're really clever, it can be funny. And if you're silly, it can be funny, but it can be taken wrong because it can then be looked at as stupidity, and I don't want that. So it's a very fine line to walk.
It is, and there's some risk involved, but if I say what's harder, go to the trough and try and be smarter than everyone else who's also trying to be smarter than everyone else, or go over here where no one's trying it and see if you can be better at that, where no one's trying, no one is associated. Even the names they gave me where they're like Bill Walton. Bill Walton wasn't trying to be funny. Bill Walton was just being Bill Walton. John Madden wasn't trying to be funny. He was just being John Madden. John Gruden wasn't trying to be funny. You can make the argument Bob Uecker was trying to be funny, but there aren't many in this lane. And I think it's harder to be smarter. I think it's harder to go to the trough where everyone is discussing the sports things of the day and coming up with something different than anyone else is saying. I think the degree of difficulty is harder on that than just being funny.
Yeah, there's two different things. You're talking about on-air analysts versus on-air talent and a show like yours. And they're both equally difficult. And I maintain that the audience is not necessarily looking. Madden became, and John Madden, obviously, I love John Madden as a coach, a broadcaster, not even as a gamer guy, which is how people know him now. He became a caricature at the end where he'd be going the boom, whap, zop, and he'd get the telestrator out. And when it was just genuine John Madden, I thought it was funny. But when you try to live up to the character that you've created, then all of a sudden you've crossed the line into, that's not as funny or clever. So it really is hard to maintain and to have a long career. It's easier to have a long career when you're down the middle and you are delivering the goods for people. Look at Richard Jefferson and Tim Legler. They're not funny. They try to be clever and they're not. But they call games as the number one play-by-play with Mike Breen on Disney. So, the way to get to the top, if you're an agent telling your client what to do, it ain't to be funny.
David, this conversation kind of came on the heels of Draymond Green's appearance last week on Inside the NBA. What did you make of that and his future possibly in that role?
He is potentially the most overrated voice on television or on podcasting. Here's what you don't do. Don't create something because you think that you're going to have a controversial take and that all of a sudden you get attention because you're going at Charles Barkley and talking about him in Houston. You don't know the first thing about what he was like. And you're trying to act like you're on the inside and that you know things that are going on. It's just funny because executives are looking and saying, we got to give him a shot because we think he's popular. But at the end of the day, we're going to find out that he's not going to work as hard. His demands for money are too high and his insights are too low. And when you put those three things together, you end up getting your microphone taken away. That's what I think of Draymond Green.
Video team, please clip that so that it can arrive on Draymond Green's doorstep without any context that he's wearing a robe as he says this, so that Draymond Green cannot understand why this person he's never heard of who's wearing a robe is having this strong a criticism.
I don't think that clip and us playing it and these takes are bad for Draymond Green. Dan had the take that's like, that guarantees that he won't get the job. No, I actually go the other way because he is making you feel something, and that show is kind of lacking in that department, especially this season. He's a lightning rod. I think you'll find the beats and the rhythms of the comedy over there. He's a different personality, but Kendrick Perkins has made a nice career for himself by just being willing to say stuff, polarizing stuff. Some of the stuff is asinine. And Draymond Green has a lot more gravitas than Kendrick Perkins. I think he's going to have a long career in media.
I think you say that like it's wrestling, where it's okay to boo the guy out the building. If you hate him, you're going to tune in, you're going to go to the event, and booing the person is good. I think you have to have people enjoying your appearance on television to be on television.
Mike is paraphrasing me incorrectly, though. I think he's got a long career in sports media. I don't think he's got a long career on that show. He's DeBoer. You can't be following Charles Barkley and be a cheap imitation of Charles Barkley who's not funny. All you are is outspoken. You're not somebody that people like.
Yeah, I don't think he's following Charles Barkley. I don't believe Charles Barkley for a second every time he says he's going to retire, and I don't think he's a natural replacement for Charles Barkley. I actually don't think there's a replacement for Charles Barkley. I think that show is best served, whatever transition that they do, is to have their core four and bring somebody on like Draymond, not remove a cast member, but have them embedded there so they're more familiar to the audience.
I think you underestimate how important likability is on television because...
Yes, but I also know how being unlikable helps. Stephen A. Smith does that.
Not that show.
But Stephen A's entertaining. Even if he's unlikable, he's entertaining. Have you seen anything from Draymond on TV? It's like, whoa, I am entertained by this guy.
I don't think you have to be likable to be on TV. Dan was on TV for a very long time.
Dan, you know that. You said earlier in your show, it's about whether you're liked or not liked. You just can't have apathy. You called it indifference, I believe, in the first hour. So basically, you've changed from 1 hour to the next of what your view is.
No, that show is the one I'm talking about. Draymond Green's going to have whatever media career he wants. It's just not going to be on that show. And I think that reason highlighted it for everyone. While he'll get the reps and he'll get the chances to see if he can get better at it, one of the things he has to get better at is not taking himself so seriously. And I don't think he's ever going to get any better at that because he's at war with everybody.
Shaq got better at it. I mean, it takes
time. If you're producing... Sorry, Dan, you're producing that show. You got to look for the replacements already. These guys, we've spent days criticizing the fact that they're so bad for basketball, that Shaq and Kenny and Barkley, they don't like today's NBA. They're hardly ambassadors to the product. So, of course, you don't think that the Disney people are saying that, we better start thinking about, because these guys cost a hell of a lot of money. We're going to need someone better on that show. And, of course, the show will be different, but they're always looking for the next talent. Aren't you?
Yes, they're looking for the next talent, but all of those guys are over 50. Mike's not wrong that Shaq took himself more seriously than he does now, but Shaq has a playful side I've never seen from Draymond Green because he's always fighting with everybody.
I think it takes time. Look, like we wrote off Tom Brady. And then Tom Brady found his rhythm. Draymond Green still has a full-time job. He's only doing this occasionally. You're talking about a show that took Shaq, one of the biggest personalities in the history of the game, several seasons to finally catch on with the audience and with the chemistry of that show.
But the thing that I would add to that is everybody there was helping Shaq. Did it seem to you like Charles was helping Draymond there? Because he could have. He softens all of that if Charles merely laughs.
Yeah, it was a bad moment. And it was a moment that is probably the most talked about moment this season on that show. And I think people will pay attention to those social metrics, and I think they'll look at Draymond Green and say, this is a prospect worth developing.
I would also add in regards to Shaq, okay, there are definitely people who didn't like Shaq, but the grand majority of people throughout Shaq's career, he was beloved. He was a beloved athlete.
I don't think it's so terrible for Draymond Green. I understand the context of the conversation that we're having, but I don't think it's such a bad thing that he is literally at the center of the most talked about moment in that show.
Agreed. The distinction that I'm making and will continue to make is, yes, if the currency is to be talked about, if that's the currency, yes, Draymond does that. Draymond will have a successful career in broadcasting. You can't be the guy who shows up to the best party in sports and takes a shit in the living room.
But that's what Draymond does. That's who he is. We have to stop thinking that he is the logical replacement for Charles Barkley. There is none. Draymond is a character to himself. And Draymond Green will, in the NBA Finals, take a dump in the middle of the court. And that's what he's going to do on television.
That show has a reputation unlike any in the history of sports, and it has the reputation of being a party. Draymond doesn't. And so if you're going to make that shift, you're going to be changing that show a hell of a lot. If what you stick in the middle of it isn't a complimentary piece that has to fit in and cause occasional sparks, but has to carry it. Because once Charles Barkley is gone, you can say Draymond's not the one replacing him, but at some point, Charles Barkley is going to be replaced, whether you believe him or not, on retirement. And I don't know about you guys, but that show doesn't feel to me quite the same as it used to, even though everything about it is the same as it's always been, except it's on a different network, and it doesn't feel the same as it used to.
No.
And why is that? Why?
Well, it's hard to age. I'm sorry, David. I think Shaq probably slides into the natural replacement for Charles, and at least he doesn't have this direct comparison. And Draymond can be Draymond. Draymond can be the surly guy that occasionally rattles the cage and you get angry at. Maybe that show is probably missing someone to get angry at. Maybe that's the kind of energy that the show could use.
I'll tell you, I also do not believe the show is what it was. I can't quite put my finger on it, but I also think, I'm at the place now where when Charles is done, I think the show's done. I don't think the show continues at this point past Charles.
The show continues. The show always goes on, Zaz. They just changed the characters. So, no, they're not going to get rid of a post-game. They're in the beginning of a long media deal. Inside the NBA as an entity continues. It will live long past Barkley and Shaq and Kenny and EJ, I'm sorry to say, because the show goes on. The reason why you don't like it as much, Zaz, I would tell you, I think, is that it comes first year, new channel. You're not exactly sure when it's on. There's no specific
I never know
night.
when it's on.
And that's a problem. And also, there was drama associated with it. There was complaining. There was questioning. And so it's like it's lost its innocence. And anytime an entity loses its innocence, it loses that charm a little bit, which loses the likability. And I think that's what you're feeling.
We need your expertise here on something because we were discussing poorly in the local hour what happened with Le'Veon Moss, the running back out of Texas Tech, who signed a 3-year contract with the Dolphins and then a few days later retired. How does the guaranteed signing bonus work there? Because we were enjoying thinking about the fictional hypothetical situation of Moss knowing going into the building that he was just going there to trick the people involved by signing something, getting his money, waiting for the money to clear, and then keeping the money. How does the guarantee work?
Yeah, there's provisions in each contract. You have to look at the guarantee provisions. You have to look at the payout of signing bonus. So, for example, I could argue that a signing bonus is earned simply for signing, not for doing anything else. But I can put language in a contract which makes that untrue, and it's almost like an upfront payment that you earn as you perform. So if you draft a kid out of high school, let's say, and that kid doesn't play for you because he does drugs, let's say, you don't have to keep paying the installments of the signing bonus, let's say. If you go in and sign a contract and then do not perform any services, you're not going to get paid out on any of that signing bonus or any of your salaries because you will not be performing your obligations under the contract. If Stephen Ross pays this guy his signing bonus, it will shock me. So I don't think he's going to see a penny.
Can you tell me of a time a guy tried to trick you in negotiations with something similarly silly as our hypothetical?
No, because it gets negotiated, so you read it in advance. So you always think about what could happen. He's not the first guy to not be able to play because he retires or because he doesn't like the game or because he gets hurt. You can plan for most all eventualities when you're signing a player to a contract. So I haven't been surprised by any player action. We've had players disappear from the team. We've had players retire or quit. And it just, you move on to the next.
Tony, can you look up for me, please, how many cars Waymo has? Because I want to know what the future feels like it's going to look like. David, would you ever use a driverless car? Is that something that you would partake in?
No, I'm too controlling. I have a hard enough time not driving myself everywhere. But no, I not now.
What do you think?
Let me change my answer, Dan. Can I change my answer?
Yeah.
Yes, I'm going to have to because Waymos, that's how it's going to be. We're going to be getting into planes without pilots soon.
What?
We're going to be getting into
Not
cars
me.
without
5 to 10
drivers.
years.
Not me.
I'm telling you it's going to happen, and either I'm going to choose to stay at home and be Howard Hughes, which is definitely a possibility. I've got the robe ready to roll right now. Of course, without a shirt and without pants. I don't know if you guys are wearing pants, but if you are, that's a violation. 2, I don't like it now, but I know I'm going to have to like it later.
You guys understandably are afraid of this, and I get it, but I will tell you, just seeing them sort of multiply in Miami, these driverless cars are far better drivers, far better, not a little bit better, far better drivers than all of the other drivers that we have out there.
And they're saying human drivers.
Super easy to cut off.
And I am curious what you think the future looks like and how soon it's coming for a day where basically Uber is replaced by the company that has decided, hey, we'll be Uber, but without having to give a percentage to the driver.
Chris is so right.
I
see them on the road. I'm like, there's a mark. They haven't gotten the Miami driving upgrade.
Like, little veer over. Oh, you stopped, you idiot.
You can easily catch them slipping when you're getting onto Golden Glades. You can cut in the intersection,
dude.
you know?
They hang so far back from the car.
I put a lip into them and I take it to the cup.
Yep.
What an idiot.
3,800 worldwide right now, Dan, for Waymo.
Wow, that sounds low. Just 3,800. That's I would
Concentrated Phoenix, San Francisco, LA with expansion in cities like Austin, Atlanta, Miami.
It's going to multiply, Dan. It's going to be 100,000 within 4 years.
Do you think it replaces Uber? Uber has basically replaced the cab in how much time? How much time did it take for Uber to make the taxi industry something that's so irrelevant that I went into a gas station in LA to try and get a taxi recently because my phone had died, and the person I was talking to didn't know what a taxi was?
Decade.
So a decade you have not just driverless cars being the majority of cars, but also airplanes being something that don't have pilots. That can't be. We can't be doing that.
If I'm a transport company, let's say FedEx, why have a crew? If you can have a pilotless plane bring packages around the country and the world, I'm going to get rid of as many people as I can because I don't have to worry about HR. I don't have to worry about benefits. I don't have to worry about anything. So I think they'll be the start. And because there'll be still human beings on a plane, like flight attendants and people to be in charge. But in theory, there should be way fewer crashes because the majority of crashes are human error. And so if you eliminate that, and we're making fun of the way we drive in Miami, but you cut off a Waymo, yeah, but the number of accidents that happen in Miami are just out of control because the drivers stink. If you can eliminate that, once your kids start driving, Mike, you're going to want driverless cars.
So driverless cars, and we're worried about AI slop, but you're talking about jobs being taken away. You're talking about people not being able to move unless it's with autonomous vehicles. Like, it seems like the walls are closing in on humans.
Put it on the poll.
I think I'm getting free, Tony.
At Le Batard Show, put it on the poll.
I would say the opposite.
Does it seem like the walls are closing in on all humans? David, what are your thoughts? I'm fascinated by the business decision, the risk and the investment involved. I worry about liability if I'm starting a company like that. I can't imagine what the insurance is for I'm going to put these missiles on the street without drivers and take my chances that I've got the technology right off the bat.
It's a product liability issue, actually. If you think about what a tort lawsuit would be, if there's a Waymo car that gets into an accident or runs over somebody, you're going to sue the company, and then the company is going to sue the manufacturer of the parts and say, hey, this wasn't human error. There's no reason for a jury to decide where the negligence is between people, between sides. This was a machine. And so was the machine built incorrectly? Are the parts defective? That's what product liability is. So it changes the business and the legal system and the damages, which in theory is going to really help you with your costs. The reason why Uber is going to be replaced by Waymo and by driverless cars is that we're going to demand it as consumers because we're tired of paying so much for Uber because they're giving a percentage to people. We would rather keep that money for ourselves.
David, I have a natural distrust of billionaires. I don't trust Stephen Ross when he says Miami can't host any more Super Bowls because they no longer have the facilities or the amenities around the stadium to actually house a Super Bowl. I naturally assume there's some kind of tax grift here. What's happening?
Yeah, so right now in New York, on Long Island, in just a couple weeks, is going to be the U.S. Open, which is a PGA major tournament. And what they do in order to host the PGA, the U.S. Open, it's insane the amount of construction. But they do it. They do it every 6 years, 8 years when they host, and it's no problem. They figure out the infrastructure. They figure out the temporary tents like the circus coming to town. For Stephen Ross to say that we're not able to host the Super Bowl is just wrong. What he's doing is positioning himself to get funding because there is funding available from the county and from the state in order to host world-class events. And to access it, you have to say, hey, but for the funding, we can't host world-class events. So therefore, you come out and say, we can't hold world-class events. Wow. He's holding world-class events. It's so funny to me that no one seems to pick up on it other than Greg Cody, who did a great job yesterday saying this is absolute horse hockey, and he's right.
What do you have for us in the way of a review?
I watched a movie, Dan, called You're Dating a Narcissist. It was not an autobiography. It was a movie with Marissa Tomei. And Tomei? Damn it. 4869, Marissa Tomei, who I love. She's an Oscar winner. Why she agreed to do this movie, I'll never know. It's so bad that I watched it because I will not walk out of a movie. But I was thinking that this is where her career is, that she's forced into some sort of ridiculous vehicle that's supposed to talk to narcissists about what makes them narcissistic, and it only made people look at it and say, I can't be that. There's nothing that looks remotely like that, and I was expecting better. I wanted some sort of lesson in how not to be one or how to be a better one, and instead I found that it was just crap. So save yourself the time, Dan. Just be a narcissist, and it's okay to date one too.
I was looking for tips on how to be a better one. That's a great line.
I don't think you should advise people to be a narcissist or to date a narcissist. It seems like terrible advice for you to give as punctuation on your segment.
I just think that if you know you're a narcissist and you know that you can be a giving narcissist but a selfish one as well, I think there's an opportunity to find a connection with somebody. Now, people would disagree, but listen, I've done fine.
Put it on the poll.
I mean, I'm divorced and
at
my
Le
kids don't
Batard
like
Show.
me.
Yeah, I don't know if you've done fine, actually.
No, not quite. Let me change. Hold on.
You want a Pulitzer?
Redo that.
You are a Pulitzer winner, though, so congratulations on that. Put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. Do narcissists know they are narcissists? Yes or no? So self-involved and yet not so self-aware. Thank you, David. Good talking to you. I don't know. Do you think that bad people know they're bad people? Just generally speaking.
Most of the time.
Evil ones know they're evil. I don't know if bad know they're bad.
I'm not sure if self-awareness is a trait that I associate with negative characteristics. You think that most people would raise their hand and say, yes. Most bad people would raise their hand, any of them, and say, yes, I'm a bad person. Or more the narcissists that you would clinically identify as narcissists. You think they would cop to it? That they would say, yes, I'm a narcissist.
I'm the best. That's what a true narcissist would say. Not only am I'm the best you've ever seen.
I don't know
really?
How many people would be.
Many are saying, I'm the smartest, best, most amazing, most humble.
Can you guys play for me, please? Jaylen Brown entering the Jennifer Hudson Show. It's literally the only thing I've seen of the Jennifer Hudson Show is the dancing entrances. It's a great idea. I'd like to steal it. Have us in bathrobes greeting.
The next time we have a live guest in.
Take some confidence to do that for that long.
Man, I would pay a lot of money to watch Dan do this.
I would pay a lot of money to not have to
My
do
God,
it.
Dan. You would be. Oh, man.
That is such a great idea.
Oh, my God.
Let's tell our PR people.
It's such a long walk, by the way. They're walking like 50 yards. How many have so many people for a show that nobody knows about?
Put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. Have you ever seen any part of the Jennifer Hudson Show other than the dancing entrances? Right now on the television, Zaslow on First Take, they are asking the question, are Cavs proving to be the tougher matchup for the Knicks in the Eastern Conference Finals? The thing that I wanted to ask you guys, if you've been listening to the show for a while, you've heard me say that Toronto, an otherwise good team, has exactly zero chance if it had faced the New York Knicks because of the matchup problems. Cleveland has been exposed the last few years. I don't get it, but they have more trouble with Mitchell Robinson. Their front line has more trouble with Mitchell Robinson than any team in the league, and he has rendered Mobley useless a few times, and I think Jared Allen missed one of the series, but Cleveland pre-James Harden, no shot against the Knicks, 0% shot, but James Harden changes things, and the thing that I wanted to ask you guys based on last night's game, okay, bit of a stunner for a couple of reasons. Detroit's Achilles heel is offensive, and they are offensive on offense when they have 4 shot clock violations in the fourth quarter. Like, they've got a big problem there that they don't quite have a James Harden. Cade Cunningham turns the ball over a lot, but they've got a lot of limitations, and there isn't a player who's cost himself more money this postseason than Jalen Duren.
Oh, woof.
I mean, just dismantled in a way that's super weird for an all-star.
Like, not a big-time player.
I mean, just not an all-star. Not proving to be an all-star.
Didn't play in the fourth or overtime.
Well, they were plus 14 when he wasn't on the court.
Last handful of games for Jalen Duren: 9, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, 8 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists, 11 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists.
How do you have 4 rebounds every game?
8 points, 10 rebounds, 1 assist.
But this is what I'm telling you about what Mobley and Allen can do to somebody like Duren, they can't do to the Knicks. Like, they have serious issues on Mitchell Robinson, but James Harden and that trade is meant to be a difference maker. And the thing that I wanted to ask you guys and the audience, because I really am having trouble throughout the history of all sports finding a perfect comp for what it is that I'm about to say, which is James Harden is an all-time player. He is excellent in a way that cannot be disputed. And yet, because he's representative of a time when some people have turned on basketball, and he represents some of the reasons that people have turned on basketball, playing for so many teams, questions about how much he cares, even though I'm telling you, you can't be an MVP of that league if you don't actually care. You're not going to be better than all of the world's best athletes not caring. There is no human being who's been born, who's not taking care of his craft, who's not named Shaq, who can go into the league and just be better than everyone else while not caring. But his style of play is also unlikable. So he also represents the advent of change in a league where you're like, I don't like how they're playing out here, taking all these threes. I like it in the post. I like my basketball to be whatever it is that I remember. So you end up with a player who's indisputably great, but is going to be diminished at every turn because people don't like what he represents. And there aren't a lot of players anywhere else in sports that are as good at what they do as James Harden is at what he does, and are no one's favorite player. And furthermore, who's the team you associate him with? Is it like, go ahead, is it Houston?
I think it's Houston, yeah.
Is it OKC?
I think it's Houston.
No, I think it's Houston. But you're right. It's a good point because you could say, all right, Durant has bounced around and he doesn't really have a team. But there are plenty of NBA fans who Kevin Durant's their favorite player. There's a lot of NBA fans who feel that way. I don't feel like James Harden is anyone's favorite player.
Put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. Is James Harden anyone's favorite player? He also has the label, and more than just about anybody going in sports right now, someone who's going to shrink in big moments. And last night could have been one of those moments. He missed 3 free throws. Like, at the end of that game when it's being decided, he grabbed the rebound on one of them, which Detroit can't allow. But he took 6 free throws, missed 3 of them. He was trying to give them the game.
Yeah, I was watching that game. I'm like, are these teams ass?
Yes.
Is this just a bad East? That's a 1 seed from Detroit. And watching them over these last few months, and I know they had the injury to Cade Cunningham, but now he's back. they seem to be really struggling. I'm not impressed with any of these teams. I was watching that game. I'm like, these are both unserious teams.
That was the issue with Detroit, and Amin had talked about it a bunch. Like, if you don't have a secondary player, if Duren can be what Duren was when he was on fire during the regular season, okay, great. You got a post presence that could really score. But when he's out of the game, you do not have a player that can help Cade Cunningham get a shot off.
I don't think it's two teams are ass. I think it's two teams who are not good enough for this moment. Detroit, Cade Cunningham's been phenomenal. Yes, the turnovers are bad, but he's doing everything by himself.
But the turnovers are bad. James Harden had 6 of those last night. That was not a good James Harden. They'll point out 30 points, but it was inefficient. It was inefficient, and at the end, he did some things that could have very easily stained him.
Yeah, that missed free throw, provided he got the rebound, right? If he doesn't get the rebound, who knows how that game unfolds. I got a comp. Now, he's done some winning, but also he plays in a sport that affords you multiple times a year to potentially win a trophy. But a lot of the things that play with James Harden play to Neymar. Flops. Doesn't take the game seriously. Can he actually be your best player on a championship team? This guy has so many God-given gifts, but he seems like he likes playing poker and partying more than the actual game. I think Neymar's a really good comp.
Do you guys have many others? And what I'm asking for basically is somebody who is eternally excellent, somebody who there is no dispute. You can try to knock him down because you don't like him, and you can certainly criticize that he hasn't won or say whatever you want about his big moments. But there is no disputing that James Harden is an all-time scorer, and yet is so, if not disliked, not liked enough that he would be A, nobody's favorite player, B, continually diluted in regards to his excellence because people don't like all the things that I'm talking about, which he's a bit of a poster child for the last, 10 years of the NBA, where the game gets changed in a way that not everybody likes, and therefore they downgrade his excellence.
I think I've got one guy who played for a lot of teams, all-time great, came off somewhat unlikable, probably not anyone's favorite player, Terrell Owens.
Terrell Owens is a good one, but when I point to Ricky Henderson or Gary Sheffield or Terrell Owens, I'm also having the added bonus of that's a personality type that whatever is objectionable. Harden's not that. Harden's all playing style and
style of play
and job choices, right? But it's not his personality that's bothering you. It's the way he's playing basketball. If you do indeed not like him or downgrade him, but these other 3 guys that have bounced around a lot or their excellence gets diminished, you have no misunderstanding as to why it is they've bounced around. It's not. It's who they are as people, not as players.
As personality-wise, what have we ever heard James Harden say outside of Daryl Morey is a liar?
Yeah, but the thing,
I haven't heard him say anything.
What a moment.
But the thing that James Harden, it is a great moment, but the thing that James Harden also ushers in is the era of the Kardashians, all of it. The thing you associate with James Harden is, oh man, he likes himself some strip clubs. That's what the
jersey in the rafters.
That's what the personality is. That's right. Put James Harden's jersey in the
what only one they'll be in.
Wasn't T.O. great in the Super Bowl he played?
He
in,
was
though?
fantastic in the Super Bowl.
That does eliminate him a little bit.
He, for whatever reason, he is emblematic of this. And he's not a guy that doesn't, he plays. He doesn't do a lot of these maintenance programs that the other guys do, but he just forces his way out of teams. And everyone looks at him and realizes that there's more potential, particularly on the defensive end, too. He's as gifted an offensive 2-guard as we've seen in that league. Seriously, Mount Rushmore talent at the 2-guard position.
But I don't believe that there's more potential in James Harden. He's an MVP. He's reached his potential. He's not
0 championships with Mount Rushmore 2-guard capabilities.
And he's not going to win a championship.
No, because you can feel it. It's just tangible. You should try harder.
I feel like I've got a decent comp pre-broadcasting career, Charles Barkley.
Yeah, I don't think you guys are doing something here, though, with the winning of a championship or the lack of a winning of a championship that I'm not doing. I'm putting that off to the side. Whether Terrell Owens plays well in a Super Bowl or not is something I'm putting over there. We can have a reasonable discussion about whether James Harden deserves to be in sports viewed as the number one choker that there is anywhere in sports. And that's one kind of conversation to have about him. But it's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the inability to be a favorite player. I'm talking about being representative of a time in basketball which represents a shift that you're sort of the face of, which is what Mike is saying, which I find unfathomable, right? Asking James Harden to try harder, I can feel you're not trying hard enough, and the guy wins MVPs, makes it feel like you're saying the reason he wins MVPs is because the sport's been distorted. It's not because of how excellent he actually is. It's because we've changed so much that we're allowing the guy to take 15 threes a game, and I don't like that, and he becomes emblematic of this thing that I don't like.
But Dan, that's the change that the NBA has seen most recently. Like, there was a long stretch of time where the NBA didn't change until that moment. Right? Like, you talk about Charles Barkley, was he anybody's favorite player?
Yes.
Oh,
okay.
yeah.
I bought his book.
Okay, I'm from
and
a younger
Philadelphia
generation.
definitely still loves Barkley. I would imagine Phoenix still
does.
loves Barkley.
No, he was my favorite player growing up.
Like, I don't know. Does Houston love Harden still?
I think
in
Houston.
They might.
What makes it hard with him is that he's traveled around so much, and it usually doesn't end great. But when he was at Houston, there were a lot of people saying Harden's my favorite player. He was very marketable.
Well, when you guys, though, talk about, say, Charles Barkley or another example, Allen Iverson, James Harden is a better basketball player than Allen Iverson, and yet will not be regarded as such because I believe people don't like a ton around him. But when you mention Iverson and Charles Barkley, or even Terrell Owens, really, there are plenty of people who like the guy who's rebellion. James Harden's not that.
No.
Like, there are plenty of people who like the polarizing guy just because he's the anarchist. Allen Iverson represents a time where a lot of people liked his style. The thing that James Harden is doing is he's either causing indifference or anger, but he's not causing what Iverson and Barkley did, which is rallying a bunch of fans around. No, I want to embrace this guy, want to be associated with this guy, want to wear his jersey, want to be about what this guy's style is away from basketball.
That's why Neymar, I think, is a perfect comp. It's not. It's because of the style of play too. It's the flopping, and it's like, oh, you hack the system. You take a bunch of threes and you put your elbow out, trying to get to the line where you can have a 30-point game. And I look at your box score, I'm like, this was a bad game. That's the stuff that a generation of basketball fans absolutely hates. And SGA, who's such an innocuous personality, it's falling on him. The playing style, much like Neymar, bothers people.
The style of play and the choking is number one for Harden. But also, I think we're forgetting to mention, a huge part of what turns off the fan base is eventually, at every spot except for Oklahoma City, he quits. Like, quitting is the thing that a sports fan hates more than anything. He quits when he's not happy. That's way up there in the dislike.
Again, emblematic of the time, though, correct? Like, guy who changes teams, doesn't have an allegiance to any one place. You're never going to associate him with what Sedano was saying is Kobe's in L.A., and LeBron will never get to top him because he spent the entire time in L.A. Something we talked about yesterday, and it was too glancing for my liking, and I'd like to bring up again with you guys to see if we can have a different discussion around it, because we were talking about Donovan Mitchell and the idea of, can you win a title if that's your best player? And the question I wanted to ask you guys, if I swap out Donovan Mitchell and SGA, is Mitchell winning the MVPs? Like, if I just swap them out, if I trade them for each other, am I getting a championship team in OKC? Because SGA is somebody whose style a lot of people also don't like, but he's not going to have some of the problems Harden has because he's associated with one team. That team really loves him. They've seen him grow up. He's won a championship there. There are no questions about his personality or how much he cares. But if I take Donovan Mitchell and I just swap it out and I just trade them for each other, is Donovan Mitchell winning the MVP with the same usage rate that SGA has at OKC?
That's top of the heap. That's pretty tough.
It's a good question about you, though.
Should we put it on the poll? Let's put it on the poll.
I was making the argument that if you put him on that Boston team and you swap out Tatum for Donovan Mitchell, I think Donovan Mitchell becomes an all-time legend in Boston.
It's what made me think of it when we left the show, because Boston also hacked the system for a year and made me wonder about some of these things. Go ahead and put that on the poll as well, even though it's a super sportsy poll question. If I replaced SGA with Donovan Mitchell, is Donovan Mitchell now the champion MVP? Yes or no?
I don't think he's the MVP. I think they're a worse team from a wins-loss perspective in the regular season, but I think in the playoffs they're still leveled with where they are right now. Even though SGA is amazing in his own right, what they've built around SGA will allow Donovan Mitchell to step in there, and all of a sudden Chet is more important, J-Dub is more important, their bench guys become more important, but it's really close.
The reason I do it with Donovan Mitchell, though, I think if I ask you guys the same question on Jimmy Butler, you're not as eager to entertain it as a possibility as if I say it on Donovan Mitchell, because Donovan Mitchell is a better scorer than Jimmy Butler.
No, that was literally the example that I cited. Yes, I think he could have been good enough to win a championship as the best player on a team with that Miami team, and Miami swung out twice trying to get him. If you put him on that team with Bam and Jimmy Butler, then Bam doesn't have to be your second best guy. Jimmy doesn't have to be your best guy, and Donovan very clearly is your best guy. And I think he would have been able to win a championship down here. It was, probably a great regret of Pat Riley's.
I think if you replaced Shai Gilgeous-Alexander with Jimmy Butler on this Thunder team, like Butler from 4 or 5 years ago with the Heat, I think Butler is potentially the MVP of the league.
Well, but Butler,
and they can win the championship.
The reason I bring up Jimmy Butler is because for a long time, when he was an 8 seed before he did the things in Miami, he's the one guy in the NBA that was getting hit a lot with the idea of, good player.
Can't be top guy.
But can't be the best player on your team if you want to be a champion. I don't know how many guys, give me the number that you guys think that I can put in front of you where just guys in the league that you can say, without question, if he's your best player, you can win a champion. Do you want to try and create this list? Because we gave it to Anthony Edwards, and I'd give it to Anthony Edwards, even though he has not done it. And what I'm holding against Donovan Mitchell, though, is that outside of last year, he's generally not going to be a top seed. But I can also say, man, Donovan Mitchell probably hasn't had as good a number 2 as the one that he has right now. Like, isn't this the best number? And they've got similar skill sets, so they have to somewhat take turns every once in a while between Harden and Donovan Mitchell on the usage rate.
I mean, it's a hard thing when there are certain players that have already done it, and I still don't actually believe it. Like Jaylen Brown, we've seen him be the best player in an NBA Finals and won a championship, right? But they ran into teams that lost their best player. Even in that Finals, they lost Kyrie. So
is he the best player on that team?
He won the MVP.
I know, but Andre Iguodala won a Finals MVP. He's not the best player on that team.
No, I know.
That's why I'm asking that.
I mean, it's pretty close. And you know me. I'm a hating-ass hater when it comes to Jason Tatum.
I think there's probably like 12 to 15 guys in the league.
No way.
You think there's less?
There's way less.
Really?
12 to 15 guys is so many guys
Who
that could be the best player?
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah, I think there's probably at least 12 guys.
Let's see. So. Okay, we've got a no way competition here. So you're saying
no way.
Let's see if you can name 12 guys. You throw them Tony's way, and we will see.
All right, you ready?
We will see. Tony, you got to give him yes or no quick. I don't want elaborations. I want yeses and no's.
Gotcha. Shouldn't have to think too hard. Cade Cunningham.
No.
Oh, this is already crazy. Jason Tatum.
Yes.
Jalen Brunson.
Yes.
Donovan Mitchell.
No.
Tyrese Maxey.
No.
Paolo Banchero.
No.
Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Yes.
Tyrese Halliburton.
No.
Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
Yes.
Victor Wembanyama.
Yes.
Nikola Jokic.
Yes.
Luka Doncic.
Yes.
Anthony Edwards.
Yes.
It's going to be a lot more than 12, dude. Kevin Durant.
No.
Devin Booker.
No.
Kawhi Leonard.
No.
Steph Curry.
No one. Why? What do you mean? He's won a bunch.
He's won a bunch. You're talking about right now.
But
he's not the best. He can't be the best player on a team.
But he
that
won
wins
one
best
on
seasons
Toronto
right now.
with Siakam.
But that's past. He's talking about right now.
He had a really good year.
He did. He
one
had
of
his best season
best
ever.
Seasons.
He had the best season ever.
If you plug him in on OKC right now,
Like, I'm not asking you, can the
this
Clippers
year's
win?
Kawhi, like they win the championship.
Steph Curry.
Yes.
Zion Williamson.
No.
Cooper Flagg.
No.
John Morant.
No.
How many we up to?
John Morant.
Like 8 or 9.
No one was keeping track.
Nobody. It seems
I was
like no
answering,
one was.
so I
It did.
hate it.
Sorry about that.
Started writing
I
them.
don't have a pen. I don't have a pen.
I
I'm
stopped
sorry.
writing at the Kawhi
You don't have
answer.
a pen.
I got so mad.
Roy, you're sorry about that. You're sorry about that. Tony can say I was talking. I was trying to answer. You're sorry about that on I don't have a pen, and that's the only way I can count.
The pen's on the other side of the
In
desk. I'm
Roy's
sorry.
defense, I have a pen and did not keep track.
Leon Draisaitl.
In Roy's defense,
Yes.
also he's really tired from last night and what I believe to be the strangest live stream we've ever done because of the teams involved. So there were 2 comebacks last night that I thought were fairly majestic. Colorado coming back against Minnesota, and Cleveland shouldn't have won that game last night. Like, if more people cared about the Detroit Pistons, they'd be slamming them for choking in that game and having things like 4 shot clock violations in the fourth quarter and their win probability when there were 3 minutes left in that game. Their win probability was over 96%. What did you guys think about the end of regulation? Do you call either of those fouls at the end of regulation?
No.
The one that was obvious on Donovan Mitchell and the one that was obvious by Jared Allen?
I understand why they didn't call it. We were talking about it here before the show started. I'm like, man, that was even a frustration foul. Like,
Well,
Allen meant to do it.
And Tony Brothers' explanation, because a pool reporter caught up with him after the game, Tony Brothers' explanation was bullshit.
Yeah.
That it was incidental
What'd he say?
contact. No,
It wasn't.
I'm telling you what he
but
said.
But the broadcasters also framed it that way. That's not – if that game is on mute and you don't have the commentators couching it as like, well, like he tripped him up, that looked like a frustration foul. We just blew the game, and Allen kind of lost his mind.
Such a low IQ play from Jared Allen. So lucky. Like, that's a foul. I'm glad they didn't call it.
That's
because
a foul at any other time in any other basketball game being
It's a
played.
foul.
He got mad lucky, and everyone just understood. No one wanted to make that call, but he should have been punished for that lapse in judgment.
Zebra's got to swallow the whistle there.
He did.
And he did. I'm saying, at that point, you cannot make it about you.
I think also part of why
They were both going for the ball.
I think also part of why I'm good with them not calling it, Detroit was up 9 and didn't score in the final 3 minutes of the game. Like, get out of here with your foul.
4
with no
24-second violations.
With your
Crazy.
loose ball foul with no time remaining to go to the free throw line. Like, I'm over that.
I appreciate you guys understanding the situation. I mean, could have used that kind of refereeing in the battle court final. You can't let it end on a double fault, especially when it was that close.
That has to be one of the more obscure ones we did. We did like a midweek highlight stream.
Ended up being a playoff preview, to be fair.
Roy, you feel like you're hurt by me pointing
Yes.
out that it was a strange couple of teams to be playing in our live stream, that we're covering live Colorado Avalanche and Minnesota Wild. You don't think that those are strange teams for us to be doing?
Well, first of all, you got the best team in the league versus possibly the third best team in the league in a second round matchup in an elimination game. So there's that.
Who's who?
It's a playoff game.
I hate this playoff
How
format.
dumb is the format?
Because, you could make a solid argument. Carolina would probably protest.
They played
but
the 7 and 8.
2 of the top 3 teams remaining in the playoffs. It's so dumb. And you can clip this if I'm wrong, and I'll wear it. I've never been more certain at this stage of a playoff of who the 2 main champions are going to be. It's OKC. The only thing that can stop them is Wemby, and it's going to be Colorado. Colorado is so much better than everybody else.
Carolina?
They are so much better than everybody else. You're going to go into battle against Nathan McKinnon with Aho?
Oh, I know.
Yeah. Hey,
I cannot wait to watch
Sebastian
Carolina lose
Aho.
that
with
series.
Aho?
Stupid Aho is what you just
That's
called
so
him?
stupid.
I don't know if you guys agree. It feels like this playoffs, though, in general, is just missing a little something.
It is.
right?
Us.
It's playoffs.
Us. It's definitely us.
Missing a little juice.
Well, the basketball playoffs are missing a couple of different things, right? Last night's was a good game, and it was a close game and an overtime game. There haven't been a ton of those. There has not been a ton of drama. Also, hasn't been a ton of controversy or storylines. And when you talk to me about what happened with the end of Jarrett Allen's night and Cleveland's night last night, do you guys realize that what you are doing there by saying, glad the referees didn't blow the whistle? One of the things you're doing is you're rescuing Jarrett Allen from an all-time dumb moment in Cleveland sports history. But what you're also doing is you're denying us what would have happened today, which is if Jarrett Allen had been called for that foul, no one would object to it being called a foul because it was so obviously a foul. It would have turned immediately into Jarrett Allen, you idiot. It would not have become another officiating story. Like maybe there would have been some people saying you don't call that in that spot, but it was obvious enough as a foul that people would not have been saying that wasn't a foul. They may have said you don't call that in that spot, but there wouldn't have been anyone saying that's not a foul. So they let something go at the end of that game because of the situation and the stakes. And it's what I always want. I want an arbiter to use judgment. I don't want an arbiter to do letter of the rule. I could get AI to do letter of the rule. Jarrett Allen got bailed out there by the fact that in this one instance, Tony Brothers decided to not be Tony Brothers because of the game situation, but only because of the game situation. It was only stakes and game situation because we're all agreeing, right? Absolutely a foul. What Jarrett Allen did there at any other time during the game when Thompson falls to the floor like that, that is called a foul.
You want to hear JB Bickerstaff, coach of the Pistons? Here he is after the game.
He fouled Asar. It's bad. I mean, clear. He trips him when he's going for a loose ball. In the game situation, you know, that's tough.
Thoughts? Like, just you guys are good with the referee deciding that my job is to call fouls and, apply the rules, and no one would disagree with the fact that that was a foul.
I don't think they deserve the call. They went scoreless the final 3 minutes, blew a 9-point
Wow, you're
lead.
adding even more context to it. So it's not about the play, it's about the last 3 minutes of the game.
It's fair. It would have been one hell of a bailout for a team that choked it away.
They didn't earn that call.
And I do think that's part of the human judgment there. Yeah, they didn't earn it. But
Team don't want to earn.
Even JB kind of positioned it as a trip. I don't even think so. Like, I think Jarrett Allen kind of forgot what moment it was there and just did a little frustration thing at the end.
When you say, are the Detroit Pistons the number one seed in the Eastern Conference ass, when you say that, it is absolutely a byproduct of them trying to win in the modern age with a style that is for cavemen and dinosaurs, because they're trying to do it with physicality and defense and 4 shot clock violations in the fourth quarter of a playoff game. It's just you are super constipated and your second all-star is shrinking and can't be on the court at the end of the game because you're plus 16 when he's not on the court.
It's like the opposite of the NHL regular season, where last year you see a team like the Washington Capitals and you're like, that style, yeah, they're getting a lot of points in the regular season, but that's not a playoff style. And here in the regular season, they just are effort all the time. Max effort, a hard team to play. Like, I don't want to play Detroit on the back end of a back-to-back. Are you kidding me? And then when they get to the playoffs, their talent just doesn't match up.
The Pistons are Canes basketball. Like, they won a lot of regular season
1000%.
games.
Yeah,
and they lose in the second round.
But Canes basketball can be Canes basketball if no one around you can shoot. It can't be Pistons basketball when everyone's flying around in spaceships taking threes and you're out there in a Studebaker throwing elbows like auga, trying 4 shot clock violations in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, I'll correct you. It was part of the strategy to hit the rim with Canes basketball. They can't do that in Detroit.
Let's talk for a second, though, about the changes in the sport that make the Knicks a team that could score 81 points by the half against the Sixers, and the Pistons are still out here doing it with a playoff style from the 90s. Because do you know how disorienting it is for me to watch the Knicks score 81 points and a half when I used to watch playoff basketball that didn't get that high in a game for the Knicks. And it makes me wonder when I go back and look from this perspective, how was I tolerating Knicks Heat basketball that was in the 70s?
Oh, so good.
Like, no, but if I put that in front of you right now, you'd be saying what Mike is saying about Detroit and Cleveland are ass.
Not me.
He's saying they're ass. You've got basically, when they announced the starting lineups, ass, not all-star, ass, because you got 4 shot clock violations in the fourth quarter of a playoff game where you just can't even get the shot off. What is that?
It's the problem when they don't have a secondary scorer. Like last year, Malik Beasley hit 300 threes with 6th man of the year and then got run out of the sport by Pablo Torre. You
say that Tobias Harris isn't a secondary scorer, but he has been in that series.
Guy was throwing up bricks last night. 1 for 7 in the fourth quarter. It was terrible. Looked like you out there. I think you'd go 1 for 7. That's actually a compliment for you.
Why are you coming after me?
I'm saying I think you would hit 1 for 7.
Why didn't you say looked like Chris Cody in a red bathrobe out there? Like, why'd you come after me?
Yeah.
What because I'm 57? Like,
no, because you got hairy shoulders. It'd be funny to see you in the jersey.
Hairy
shoulders.
Well, you know
I
what's
bet you
funny?
do.
I do. I'm gonna send you guys something right now.
I don't need to see your shoulders. I
No,
believe
it's
you.
not my
Okay.
shoulders, and I don't have hairy shoulders.
But show Roy.
I don't have hairy shoulders.
You said you did a couple seconds ago.
No, what I said is that I have here something that I want to put on the screen very quickly because there was, I sent this to Amin the other day. There was a promo for the Celtics basketball game that had Bill Russell in it, and he was going up against an Atlanta Hawk who had hairy shoulders. And I'm like, and so I was just sending it to people. Hey, how did Bill Russell dominate this particular era? And they just showed some guy who looked like he had wigs on both of his shoulders, like had so much hair on his shoulders that you had to downgrade how good a basketball player that actually was, even though it wasn't a bad basketball player, just based on the amount of hair on his shoulders, because it looked like the guys that Philip Seymour Hoffman was playing against when he went Rain Man and Ben Stiller got a smelly, hairy, sweaty belly in his face that he had to lick. And I can't imagine how many times Ben Stiller had to do that scene unpleasantly, licking the hairy belly of a sweaty one-on-one player.
What's going on in basketball? I've gone back to the NBA Finals since 2019. And it's unlike any era that we've ever seen in this sport. Typically, when a team makes it to the NBA Finals, they have staying power. They're going to be in the conversation for 4 years, 5 years at the very least. They're going to be a fixture in the playoffs. Outside of Boston and OKC, you've had some teams completely fall off and quickly. Now, I know there's player movement, and I know contextually there have been some injuries. But since 2019, we're talking Raptors, Warriors, Denver, Lakers, Pacers, Mavs, Bucks, Suns, Heat. What is happening in this sport? Is it because of the style of play that allows you to get really hot one season and you don't actually have staying power because all these teams can play this same style and it's just a matter of a 3-point contest?
Let's think about this for a second because I'm trying to think. When I think of the Nets of Vince Carter, right? They visit for a year, but they get knocked off by the Spurs. The Spurs stick around for a while, but the Nets can only get there for a couple of seasons.
I think it was pre-Vince Carter. I think this era in the Eastern Conference, Dan, that's the exact same example that I use. I think the East is so ass, it reminds me of the years that the Nets kept going up against the Spurs.
The funny thing about what you're saying, though, is I wouldn't have argued 2 years ago that the Celtics were ass.
I put them in my list of 2 teams that have had staying power, and they just got bounced in the first round.
Yeah, but what just happened to them was something that surprised me because I'm expecting the Celtics to be around for a while, and you're not wrong when you say historically, that doesn't get knocked off in the first round. Seeing Denver knocked off in the first round after winning a championship, to me, was a celebration of how tough the West is. But that's not what I'm doing with the Celtics in the East.
Well, yeah, for Boston, I mean, it also hurts that Jaylen Brown clearly wants out. That's going to hurt their staying power. I mean,
again, they're on the medal stand. Gold standard type of staying power in this era since 2019, and they've even reshaped their team. There are teams that have completely fallen off, that have kept their stars, like the Heat, like the Suns, like the Bucks. I think this has basically become a league where if you get hot or you go cold in the postseason from long distance,
is that not good?
That is history altering, where before you had teams that if you had your guys under contract for 4 years, you'd be there every year. You can't say that. I mean, 7 months after making it to the finals, the Mavs are destined for the number 1 pick in the league. It's crazy.
It's 7 straight years of a brand new champion. That's never happened.
No, but what he's
league.
doing there, though, the thing that he's doing there, it's Milwaukee going from being that good to being awful. Indiana going from being that good to being awful. Dallas going from being that good to being awful.
But there's answers for all that, right? Like, Giannis got hurt. They didn't have a good team around him. Halliburton tore his Achilles. The Pacers were completely done.
I understand.
Like, there's a lot of injuries in that list that throw off those guys from
context.
coming back.
Explain Denver, right? I know there's
Great Western Conference.
There's been player movement now for like 25 years in this sport, and guys suffered through injuries. Look, when the Miami Heat lost their best player in Alonzo Mourning, they were still upset in the first round of the playoffs. They got to the playoffs. You're having teams become lottery teams now in the NBA. I think it's become a sport with a lot more variance in terms of all-time greatness.
I'd also like to amend my list of yeses earlier. I want to throw Kawhi back into the yes column after some stuff, and also Cade I want to throw back into the yes column.
All right, so we're closer to 15 is what we're doing.
I don't know. Roy didn't keep count.
Didn't have
Pins
a pen.
over there.
Didn't have a pen.
Chris didn't keep count.
It's the combination, though, Mike. It's the variances on the threes and also just a spectacular amount of injuries that make it so the players are broken because the sport's a little bit broken.